In these 30 years of history in the franchise, we have seen many villains being defeated by the Power Rangers, and all these villains are very different. Some are villains with a good sense of humor, some are just plain evil, and there are others that are very analytical. Each villain has their own story, and many of them have been well loved by fans of the franchise. Despite this, the villains we have been able to see in the comics have been awesome, basically on the same level as the villains in the TV series. Some have even been better villains than any of the villains in the TV series, and this is what brings us to our video today. Maybe everyone will agree that the best villain in the comics has been Lord Drakkon, but this leaves us with a question mark. Is Lord Drakkon the best villain in the entire franchise? This includes the comics, the series, and the movies. Remember that in the movies we also have a great villain named Ooze, who almost destroyed the Power Rangers and controlled Rita and Lord Zed as if they were old dolls. This character was made of a liquid material that could transform into anything, but also had a great power like electricity. Another impressive thing about this villain was that he could create other warriors, and in addition he could also use his machines to have a giant size. The negative thing about this villain is that he had no great motives, as the only thing he always mentioned was the destruction of Zordon. This seemed to be his sole purpose, and to accomplish this he had to destroy the Rangers as well. He almost achieved this goal as he destroyed the command center and destroyed the Zordon tube. This movie is not part of canon, so there are some things in the story that change, and the destruction of the Zordon tube is one of these things. In the TV series we could see that when Andrus destroys the Zordon tube, it causes a powerful energy to travel throughout the universe and destroys many villains. In the movie, when Ooze destroys the Zordon tube, we can only see that Zordon is aging rapidly, and this could be the end of him. Even though this villain was very powerful, the Rangers managed to find a way to defeat him, and he became one of the most powerful villains we have seen so far. Another villain that many fans have said is one of the most powerful is Ransik from Power Rangers Time Force. This villain is a mutant who comes from the year 3000 but travels back in time and fights against the Power Rangers. Because of his appearance, he was rejected, and this gives him motivation to do evil. His appearance in human form makes him feel a bit more real, as he does not look like a fantasy monster but looks like someone who can exist in our reality. This villain has been one of the few enemies that the Rangers could not defeat. They even managed to catch him, only because he surrendered and gave himself up. This makes us think that Ransik is one of the most powerful villains, since he was never really defeated, and we do not know what would have happened if he had not surrendered. This is why we are never going to know the magnitude of his power, since all villains present all their tricks when they are desperate and know they are going to be defeated by the Power Rangers. These are the only villains that I can think could be rivals for Lord Drakkon, and this character has been the only one who has really destroyed the universe. In this channel we have talked about the history of this character through the comics we have read. A long time ago we started reading the story of the Shattered Grid, one of the most shocking events in the history of Power Rangers. Lord Drakkon got to the root of absolute power and was able to break the multiverse. Soon, we will begin to read the story of this character from the beginning, since the comics we read on the channel only talk about the history of Shattered Grid. The history of this character is wider, since these events are the end of a part of his history, and it has been almost impossible to finish with this character. This has been the interesting thing about Lord Drakkon. No matter how many times they finish with him, he always appears in some way and always has a new plan. The greatest power any villain can have is the ability to create a plan that confuses everyone and is always one step ahead. This is what makes Lord Drakkon special, as he is always one step ahead of everyone, He has even been one step ahead of the Morphin masters. If you don't know this character, I invite you to stay tuned to this channel as we will start reading his life story from the beginning. For now, I can only tell you that Lord Drakkon is a version of Tommy Oliver from another universe. For those who understand nothing about the multiverse, this is basically an idea that talks about the existence of parallel universes. In other words, it is the idea that there is another universe just like this one, but in that universe different things can happen because your other version could have made a different decision than yours. If for example in this universe you decided not to leave your house today, your other version of the other universe may have decided to leave that day and because of this had a car accident. Any decision we make in our life has different consequences, and this is what forms the path of our whole existence. The idea of the multiverse tells us that each universe can have many variants, and I think this has been clear in many movies that we have been able to see recently. In the Power Rangers franchise, the multiverse has been around for a long time, but in the comics, they have used it in a more entertaining way. This multiverse in the comics has given us great and epic moments that have managed to capture our attention, and this is what we have been asking them to do in the TV series. With the passing of Jason, the actor playing Tommy Oliver, it is very difficult for us to have Lord Drakkon on TV, and this is why we recently made a video talking about the possibility of changing the actor for the character of Tommy Oliver. If they make this change, maybe they could use the excuse of the multiverse for us to have a different Tommy Oliver, and so maybe we could see Lord Drakkon in a new series. We recently talked about the new changes coming to Power Rangers, and this includes creating a universe with connected series and movies. If they start creating new series in this new universe, then one of these series could be the story of Lord Drakkon and the Coinless World. This is a universe where the Power Rangers have been defeated and everything is destroyed. This series would be a very dark story and would be aimed at an adult audience. This could easily be connected to some movie, so we could have a Power Rangers universe that is for a different audience. Lord Drakkon could be the salvation of the franchise if they start making series and movies with the same style as the comics of this character. Give me your opinion in the comments and write what you think about the new Lord Drakkon series.